In 2025, the education, health, science and environment sectors have struggled, leaving many hopes unfulfilled. Yet some of the stories we covered were truly heart-wrenching, especially at a time when the nation proudly claims it is on the path to first world status. Starvation and the tragic deaths of mothers during childbirth have sparked widespread grief and outrage. Emily Chebet now lifts the veil, revealing the human cost behind these events and showing how they tested the courage and integrity of the journalists who brought these stories to light.
Growing up in a remote village just a stone throw away from Mau Forest in Kuresoi, South Nakuru County, I never imagined that one day I will be a journalist. I went to a rural school where mother tongue was the only language we knew. The teachers would teach in English, Swahili, but Kalenjin was a must for emphasis even in class. So for me, journalism was almost an impossibility. My name is Emily Chebet, Education, Health, Science and Environment reporter with Citizen TV. And this is my storytelling story for 2025. Moments that stretched me physically and emotionally.
The time nilikuwa naamka asubuhi na prepare watu wanaenda shule. Narudi kwa nyumba, nafunga nyumba. Nakaa kwa nyumba the whole day.
Nape mtoto wangu maziwa kwa nini na mama yao kwa wapi?
Anasaidia Eunice na anawekewa simu loudspeaker aongee.
The ratio of doctor to the patient is about 1.5 per every 1,000.
Sasa sina chochote. Sioni maisha yamenichosha.
I have done hundreds of stories this year. Citizen TV in Nairobi, Marsabit County. I have walked along the corridors of various hospitals. I have told stories inside medical laboratories. I have been to schools, villages, and inside people's homes telling stories. The interesting bit about journalism is that you'll never know where the story could take you. Some days you'll be chasing stories, others stories would be chasing you. You cannot predict how your week, your month, or your year would look like. And every story that you do leaves you differently. Early in November, just a few weeks ago, Citizen TV's camera person David Kabiru and myself found ourselves in Marsabit County. We accompanied the Kenya Red Cross Society on a drought assessment mission. But as a storyteller, of course, I was eager to file stories. It was my first time in that side of the world.
Ekalokon await.
I have been to Turkana, so I had an idea of what awaited us, but I would later learn that every assignment has its own challenges.
Hi guys, so Kabiru decided that I'm going to look
The harsh climatic condition and the poor terrain tested our strengths and tires. The long and ending dry land was emotionally draining, but despite the challenges, it was an adventure. We got some fun moments, especially crossing Chalbi Desert. I had only read about the desert in school. After long hours of travel, we got to the villages and I kept asking myself whether we are still in Kenya. We were almost 300 kilometers from Marsabit town in a place called Dukana. I was not prepared for the stories I would hear. Kenyans who have lost almost everything to drought. 70-year-old Bobo Sora is seated quietly inside his Manyata in Dukana, Marsabit County. His movement is restricted not just by old age, but the slow, crushing weight of drought, hunger and illness. A man who once walked across these vast plains with his livestock can no longer stand, can no longer help himself, and cannot see what the drought has done to the livelihood that vanished with the rain. The biting drought that ravaged this region in 2022 and 2023 took almost everything from him. Since then, his wife says life has never been the same. Mzee Bobo's health has continued to deteriorate, and now he has lost his sight completely.
I was grazing my 200 goats through this Dukana area. Now I am remaining with nothing. I can't see. I went to the dispensary. I was told it's high blood pressure. I don't have any help.
We kept asking ourselves whether the government knows that these people exist until we saw government infrastructure, schools and dispensaries. Devolution was meant to bring service closer to the people, but devolution is still a distance to these people. As a journalist, it's really heartbreaking.
to listen to people's stories, yet you know you cannot offer them any solution. But it is fulfilling that you give them a microphone, a voice, so that they can tell their stories to anyone who would be willing to listen.
Children are staring at a crisis. Malnutrition is slowly creeping, and with the exit of the USAID, it will only get worse. No supplements at the dispensaries. Women, just like children, are bearing the brunt of the climate change, walking almost 20 kilometers in search of water. I was in their lives for just hours, but I could feel the weight they carry every single day. The government has been talking about construction of dams. There's one lying idle, meaning these people can actually get water. This would happen if their leaders, who we are told have relocated to Nairobi, could be a bit serious.
Ataingia helicopter, aende, amalize shughuli zake za campaign, arudi Nairobi. Ule mtu wa huko mwenye alimchagua hana ambulance ya kubeba mtu kutoka akigonjeka kutoka nyumbani kwenda hospitali. Hakuna hospitali, hakuna barabara. Our leaders wakishikana ni kufanya tu kazi yako. Hata kama the land is very vast, unashika pahali communities wako, cause hii ni pastoralists, ni watu wa kufuga, so wanatembea.
Getting stories was not easy. Language barrier and hostility from the community. We were almost attacked by locals while filming. A seemingly angry man with a knife approached us, questioning why we were taking pictures of his camels.
I saw a boda, a motorbike with two guys. So at first I thought, at least these guys have a means of transport and there is communication, because it's a very remote place. So I went, took the camera from Biwot, brought it back, removed the car. They were like, you see? So this is the photo that we took, and we have deleted it. It was like, no. Lazima munilipe 4,000. They were like, now I was angry because, first of all, there's no network. So you can't even send someone through mobile money. Two, they came from another place. Those animals were grazing there by themselves. But the moment they saw two cars, they knew there is money here.
This lady has so much to share. She is a good storyteller, but the language... The girl we got was also struggling. We faced similar challenge in a place called Saru. We were interviewing a local who had information on stalled dams, but at some point, we realized that the translator was saying his own things. We were there for 6 days. Every day had its unique challenge. We spent one night with no electricity. In many occasions, we were off telephone network.
As I interviewed families who are facing drought, I caught myself swallowing my own discomfort because their reality was far much harsher than my temporary presence. And the hardest part about this work is that you step into people's lives at their most vulnerable. You listen, you document, you feel, then you leave. You carry the burden with you.
It was a challenging moment. You just feel like you can just chuck money from your pocket and save the situation. But now even if you do that, it will be for that day. You can't pay for that person a monthly bill for food. So you just put in your mind, you're doing work. It's part of your job. But again, you're also human.
I have covered maternal and newborn stories. Mothers dying while giving birth. Hospitals accused of neglect. But for the first time, I handed over the microphone to 3 young fathers who have been left to raise their newborn babies after losing their wives to excessive bleeding after birth, the leading cause of maternal deaths in the country. The stories of these fathers shattered me. Eunice's story ends here, but it is the beginning of a bigger conversation. My cameraman for the day, Alfred Cheriot, and I were fighting back tears behind the cameras when Victor Amula was narrating his story of loss. As we went on with the interview, the questions became too heavy and the answers were cutting deep. We could no longer hold it.
Number 25. 25th is the day the mother died.
moyo wangu sugu sana. Hii kazi ni kubwa, ama si Mungu wako, si yako tu.
In between the interviews was a loud silence. In that moment, I was not just a journalist. I was a mother, a sister, and an auntie. Every word from Victor, Tom, and Sammy, whom I met in his rural Nyandarua County, reminded me of my children, especially my young daughter.
Ndiona wife yangu hapa hivi ameanza kutani yellow. Eunice mama Lucy alika less than 1 hour. Ndio watu waambie ameniacha.
Siku ya kupick mtoi unafanyaga hata shopping ya wife. Then kwa hii kesi yangu unapata hizi vitu zote unarudi nazo juu hakuna mtu anarudi home. Unaona? Wife anaenda mochari huko chini, mtoi yako huko baby unit. Wewe ndio unarudi home na hizi mzigo zako.
Samuel's father is at home alone. The wife, Samuel's mother, is in Nairobi to help raise a 2-week-old baby, at least for now. But I kept thinking, until when? I have carried their stories with me for months. Every day I am imagining the pain they are going through, the questions that their children are asking.
And as I reflect on my year 2025, I'm talking about these men who walked into maternity wards full of hope, but walked out with their bundles of joy, but with grief that is unimaginable. And I saw not only statistics, I saw futures being rewritten, I saw families broken, and communities changed. And I keep asking myself, why are we still losing mothers in 2025? And Prof, why are we still losing mothers in 2025?
We do not have enough resources towards care of these women. Number 2, we do not have enough blood that is supposed to be available to transfuse these women after they have lost so much blood. Out of every 10 women that die because of excessive bleeding, 4 are lost because there was no blood. It's also a shame that we do not have enough trained, skilled workers within our hospitals to take care of our women.
Why 2025 has been a defining year for our institute? We had funding cuts that should have really affected how we do science, how we solve problems within our society that particularly affect health and in particular affect the underserved communities, that is women and young people.
25th is the day the mother died.
From Victor, Tom, and Sammy's stories, I have learned to do more than reporting. I promised to be part of the change that is needed, especially in the healthcare sector. It could be anyone that is in need of the ambulance, blood, a qualified healthcare worker, or even a good road to access emergency service. From the dry lands of Marsabit to hospital corridors and laboratory benches, I learned that stories don't end when the camera stops rolling. They follow you home. They sit with you. They reshape you. And as I end the year and step into a new one, I will continue carrying the burden of storytelling, giving a voice to the voiceless, and throwing the mic to the people, because their stories matter. Happy 2026.